Good morning, or good afternoon, or good night to you, depending on where you are when you see this video. Right now, it's still morning for me from Jacksonville, Florida. Right now, you can see that's a photo of Jacksonville behind me. We like to holla Duval here in Jacksonville. So, so what's going on? What's happening with you all? So the reason why I'm making this video today, and it's funny, I actually struggled a little bit with kind of this topic a little bit, and I want to kind of be quick, or at least as quick as I can about it. So I'm going to go as fast as I can, but I'm going to take as much time as I need to in order to properly kind of dive into what this whole effort is all about. So you see here that I've titled this Finding Mr. or Mrs. Right, and in parentheses noting not Mr. or Mrs. Right now. But I really want to focus this video on a conversation around what do we need to do in order to find who we think is Mr. Right or Miss Right, Mrs. Right, if we're really looking. And I think we should be looking. Part of the reason why I'm creating this video, I want to go into this part a little bit before we dive into the good stuff, the goodies. Part of the reason why I'm making this and took a little bit of time to put this together is because and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create this. This is basically a recorded video, and I'm going to play it out, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do a live stream. And I'll probably play the video one more time, and I want to talk about some of these issues. And I don't want to go too deep, but what I will say is it seems like we are not focusing on or not valuing marriage. We don't seem to be focusing on this idea of as much as we should, or at least maybe as much as we used to. We don't seem to be focusing on this idea of meeting one person, meeting someone, and then really trying to make it work with that one individual all the way to the point of marriage, a lifelong partnership. Now some of you might say, okay, well, I disagree with you, Frank. And that might be something that we talk about. It seems like our culture, just looking back, it seems like we valued coming together and creating unions more than we do now. It seems like our culture, the single culture these days, is more about hookup culture, or finding someone who we think looks good, and if somebody else comes along who we think looks better, okay, we're gonna pivot and we're gonna go to that person. Or if we find somebody who we feel like may have some money and they can take us around and buy us things, spend money on us, until we find somebody who has more money, and so we're going to go to them. It just seems like we are not focusing on what a lot of people kind of define as true love. And so what is true love if not a commitment to someone, to be with them through everything except people, for their flaws, and make that commitment. I'm going to love you for all the great things, all the beautiful things about you, but no one's perfect. And so, there are going to be some things that I don't necessarily, quote unquote, love as much about you, not necessarily, doing backflips over, but that comes with who you are, these imperfections. And so I love you even despite that. I mean, isn't that sort of along the lines of what we mean when we talk about love? And so that's what I think some people want. But it seems like overall we're living in a culture that is not valuing that. So what happens is, I think we have a situation where we've got a lot of people who are looking for those things, but we're all caught up in the mix with the overall culture, which is not looking for those things, like decidedly not looking for those kinds of things. And so then it's a matter of, well, how do we find it? How do we find it? It's hard out here, and I've been divorced for some years now, and I've been out here and I've looked at I've been experiencing some things, and I've been out here checking out this dating scene and moving through it, and I've also been paying attention to this a lot of the latest stuff that's going on in certain segments of YouTube that appear to be seeking to hold the other side accountable. Women trying to hold men accountable, and men trying to hold women accountable, and in a lot of these different spaces, it just seems like a lot of stuff is just breaking down. Well, I think it's important that we move forward toward um, trying to make ways to come together, because especially here in the Black community, how do you have a community? And this is the part really that resonates with me, and why I'm doing part of why I'm doing this. How do you have a community if you don't have a man and a wife creating a family together, household, raising a family in a way, raising children in a way that contributes to society? And you have a lot of people, basically the majority of the culture doing that. How do you have a community, especially here in the Black community, if you don't have those things? So for me, that's really where a lot of the resonance lies, and a lot of the reason why I've been spending a lot of time thinking about how do we come together. So we do need to come. We need a way to be able to reliably move forward with finding that person that we think is right for us. All right. And I think that, most of, what's happening now in society with these dating sites, most of it is just not it. Tinder is, you want to go to Tinder if you want to try some of these other dating sites. They're not necessarily, to me, built emphasizing the right kinds of things. So for me, that's what's going on. I want to at least do my small part in trying to create an environment where good people can find their way towards each other. So that's like, hey, I'm not a relationship guru at all. I'm a single man out here trying to find the person that I think is right for me. And so if anything, I'm gonna, create something that I think serves me and then serves um, everybody out here like me. I want to try to create a metaphor for us to use, a working metaphor as we move forward, so that I want to try to reorient us in our thinking about how we are doing what we're doing. Um, and then stay on that, like sit on this metaphor for like the rest of, the entire process that I've created. All right, so this metaphor, I want us to think a little bit about 5-star restaurants, what our conception of 5-star restaurants are. 5-star restaurants, by definition, um, they bring the best of the best, right? So 5-star restaurants, they focus on all the details. Every detail is there's some attention paid to it, and the expectation is to bring you the best of that. So whether it's the food itself, you have 5-star chefs that are throwing all of their talents and skills into creating the absolute best for you, and serve you with that. From going into, in terms of the food, all the course meals, these are 5, sometimes 6 course, maybe even more meals, from appetizer all the way to the nightcap. Um, the ambience is beautiful. The music, is top notch. Service is outstanding. They treat you like royalty from the moment you set foot, in the establishment. I really want you, like, all the detail, down to the tables and tablecloths and everything, is designed for us to receive the absolute best. the best that they can give, you know. And so when you talk about 5-star, you're talking about as close to perfection in terms of overall experience with everything involved as possible. And that's a 5-star restaurant. Now, just while I'm sitting here kind of talking about 5-star real quick, I'm not talking about like sort of an everyday garden variety, if you will, 5-star restaurant. I'm talking about the top of the top. Um, I did a little bit of research on it, and they have restaurants that are rated by Michelin ratings. And if anybody Googles it, you'll see what I'm talking about. These restaurants get Michelin scores, and they typically range from 1 to 3. But there's some discussion about how many quote unquote stars they can get. But the point I want to get to is that true 5-star restaurants in this country are extremely rare, exceedingly rare. In terms of sheer numbers, there are over 600,000 restaurants in this country. And in terms of numbers of, like different types of restaurants and business entities, in terms of restaurant chains, there are over 100,000 different restaurant chains in the United States. So you're talking about overall of those restaurant chains, or the numbers of restaurants, a true Michelin rated restaurant, which for the Michelin rating is 1 star, 2 stars, or 3 stars. And I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm gonna throw us off. But all of these are considered 5-star restaurants. 3-star being the highest of the highest, and with the 5-star rating. There are only 200, a little over 200 Michelin rated restaurants in this country. That's out of a minimum of 100,000 different food chains, restaurant chains. So when I bring up this 5-star kind of concept that I want us to kind of get on board with, I want us to think about just how rare that is. And it's rare because, in terms of true 5-star, because there's so much, it takes a high amount of energy, detail, resources to create this experience. It didn't just pop out 5-star. They are putting incredible work in being 5-star. So what we're talking about, and what I want to establish, is this discussion about the quality of services that 5-star restaurants, or even restaurants in general, provide to you, the person that's coming in, the person that's patronizing, the one that's coming in and expecting service. When I'm talking about true 5-star, I'm talking about restaurants that offer you the best of the best service, hands down. And these types of restaurants have very few peers, so near perfection. Because when you look at that percentage of, say, 200 into 100,000, I haven't done the math, but that's a ridiculously low percentage. That's probably in the hundredths of a percent. It's not even 1%, nowhere near it. So, so I want to establish this 5-star quality of service notion. And when we kind of bring this conversation out, then you've got your 5-star restaurants, but we know that we have restaurants with the star designations that go from 1 to 5. And so we have those, which are the top of the top. Then we've got, say, 4.5-star restaurants. Then we've got 4-star restaurants, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. And all we are talking about when we speak about these types of establishments is just the level of quality of service, right? We're not necessarily judging any particular institution per se. We're not judging it. We're just rating the kind of service, the expectation for the kind of service from top to bottom that establishment serves you with, from everything that they do. It's a rating of quality of service. So there's nothing wrong with, say, four-star restaurants that just don't have that same quality of service that you offer that are offered by five-star restaurants. Same with three-star, same with two-star. So let me just sit on two-star for a minute. With the two-star restaurants, most of us go to them all the time, right? Most of us, the majority of us, two-star restaurants are spots like, McDonald's or Arby's or Chick-fil-A, Zaxby's. I don't know, I'm talking to people from all over the country, so I don't know what your typical fast food restaurants choices are, but we're talking about, spots like that, where they are good for what they are. There's no judgment. You can make a comparison between two different kinds of two-star restaurants. Like, which one is better, Wendy's or Chick-fil-A, and people can have a discussion about that. But Chick-fil-A is cool with being a two-star restaurant. It's not trying to be a four-star or five-star establishment. Chick-fil-A isn't even gonna try to pretend like it's a three-star establishment. It is what it is. And let's take Chick-fil-A, for example. Lines around everywhere we go, for the most part, it's going to be lines around the corner for pretty much any Chick-fil-A that you go to. You always have these long lines whenever you go there. So they're successful just being what they are and being the best at what they are, or at least striving to be the best. That's their level of service. That's the quality of service that they provide in terms of from top to bottom, everything that you can come to expect if you go to Chick-fil-A. And they're comfortable with it. And you go, you get it, you're happy with the experience, as long as you got two-star money, right? As soon as you can go in and get that, then you can get the two-star experience. And so just imagine the kind of gap that is between something like a Chick-fil-A and a true Michelin rated five-star restaurant establishment. You can't even begin to compare, right? Yet those options are there. Those establishments are who they are, they're what they are. And if we can go and we can have that kind of experience, we go where it's appropriate. So we'll go to Chick-fil-A or we'll go to a five-star spot. Now I want to sit just a little bit on how we, when I mentioned, okay, Chick-fil-A, two-star restaurant, as long as you got two-star money, you can go in. Same thing, two-star expectations. So if you want to go to a two-star restaurant, you've got to have, generally you're going to have expectations. First of all, they're going to have expectations that are two-star. They expect you to probably come in with, jeans and a t-shirt, shoes, shorts, something, wearing something, And generally speaking, you go in and you have a certain amount of expectations for the restaurant. And of course, you got to be able to pay for whatever your service is that you get. Same thing with the five-star. Let's talk about that. When you go to a five-star establishment, what do? We're gonna dress. We might get a mani-pedi for the ladies. Even some of the dudes might get a mani-pedi. We're gonna get cleaned up. We're gonna, take that nice long hot shower, make sure we get everything squeaky clean behind the ears and everything to go to a five-star restaurant. We're gonna put on our best. We're gonna look our best. We're gonna smell our best. When we go to the establishment, we're going to be in the right sort of mindset. We're gonna go bringing with us all of our best uh, attitudes, disposition. We're going to be focusing on our manners. We're going to be focused on, being cordial, like all the things that you kind of, all of the best things about who you are going to try to take that with you to this exclusive, five-star establishment, because you want to go and you want to get what this five-star establishment has to offer, and you want to experience it all. And I don't know if anybody's ever been to either a true, like one of these 200 Michelin rated restaurants in the country, or just restaurants that kind of call themselves 5 star. Like, we'll go to Yelp and we'll see the $4 signs or the $5 signs, and really nice restaurants, and you're still dressing up for those. I don't know if anybody's ever been to any of those where you see somebody who's clearly not ready for the experience, right? They go up, they maybe show up in t-shirt, they're showing up in a jeans and t-shirt there, or maybe they're showing up um, not having prepared themselves fully. Maybe they didn't take a shower or something, and showing up in a really super nice restaurant, you're looking out of place. But even worse, your attitude is off. You walk in and they're acting, they're acting with an attitude, and they're treating servers like dirt. They're sending food back with no reason. Like, I'm sure we've seen from time to time people who come in who were like, "You're just not right for this environment. You're not bringing from a personal standpoint what you need, what it takes in order to fully appreciate and enjoy a 5 star experience, right?" Um, and if that happens, what's going to happen? It's a 5 star restaurant. It's not their job to teach somebody how to appreciate their experience. 5 star restaurant is what it is, what it is, and it's that way on its own. It doesn't it's going to serve you. Its whole job, the reason why it's there, is to provide you with that kind of service, and the expectation is that you come, and you have the capital, in all ways, to be able to partake and appreciate that kind of service. So you don't get put out if you show up. If it's too egregious, you show up, and if it's little small things, maybe there'll be a little bit of tolerance, for you. But if you're showing up at 5 star restaurants with 1 star restaurant expectations and mentalities, you're not gonna be very long with at that 5 star restaurant. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time really going in on this notion of the quality of service when it comes to something like a restaurant, something like restaurants. And I want to stick with it because I want to create a metaphor between that and um, what we do and what our expectations are in this dating game. And for those of you who are watching this who are married and happily married, you are so blessed. You are so blessed. God is honoring you, and stay with it. Do everything. Be so happy that you're not not dealing with this craziness out here in today's modern single dating game, because it's treacherous out here. There are all kinds of people with all kinds of different motivations. So we need to be thinking about the quality of what we are offering to potential mates, to other singles out here in the dating game. We need to be thinking about that because, okay, so first of all, I'm going to say this. First of all, we like this whole, what I'm talking about is from the standpoint of us, let's say good people who are trying to find other good people to make our lives with. All right, so this whole thing, this effort that I'm working on, that I want to start here and at least see if there's somehow any resonance for it, has to do with that, finding people who are good people who are trying to find their way to each other in order to create meaningful and lasting relationships. We need to be aware of our establishment. We need to be, and we need to come. We need to be honest about that. And we need to be aware of what we can bring to others. What these services are in this, again, in this dating environment. So for me, it starts with being authentic and truthful, very honest about ourselves. Where are we? Where do we stand? What kinds of services do we provide? If we can do that, if we can honestly assess for ourselves what kind of restaurant that we're bringing, that we're offering, we're inviting someone to come to our restaurant. What kind of restaurant do we have? Do we have a five-star restaurant? Which, as I said, is extraordinarily rare when you talk about overall, the restaurants in the country. Do we have a 4.5-star restaurant? Do we have a 4-star restaurant? Do we have a 3-star restaurant? Of um, what kind of star service, if you will, are we giving or bringing to a potential mate to attract? Um, if we're bringing 2 stars, that's what we're bringing, and that's what we're offering. There's nothing wrong. We all want to be 4-star, 5-star. Everybody. I don't think anybody wants to look at themselves and say, I'm a 5-star. I'm a 5-star restaurant. What's wrong with you? You can't see that. But realistically, that is not. Not everybody out here is bringing 5-star sensibilities to the dating game. If it's 2-star, then it's 2-star, and we should be proud of that. Because there are plenty of people out here who are also bringing 2-star qualities or sensibilities or services, or however you want to put it, to relationships, who will be absolutely ecstatic, happy, provided the two of you, have the same sensibilities. It's flipping the metaphor a little bit. It's like it's plenty of people that, go to, Chick-fil-A, order their food, leave happy. You got what you expected. So I hope I'm not getting too nerdy with it, guys. I'm a nerd. I am a nerd. So I tend to get, I'm not an extrovert. I don't have the gift of gab. So I tend to get a little bit too deep with some of these things. So I think you guys follow me. I hope that you're getting the understanding that what I'm trying to do is create a system that allows us to be able to sort of translate the kinds of things we bring to relationships that the other sex is looking for, and putting these on a scale, if you will, 1 to 5 stars. And so right now, what I'm saying is Frank Gooden is sitting before you with a certain star rating, that he's bringing to this dating game, if you will, as I'm trying to find my person. And every one of you are also bringing, you got that little star somewhere on your shoulder, on your forehead, is somewhere that you're bringing to it. And what I want to do is I want to create a way for us to be able to quickly find out what that is, and find out if we are suited for each other in terms of the specific things that are important for us. So that's what this is. Right. So that's a good segue. I hope I spend enough time on that. But that's a good segue into introducing you to what I created. All right. So again, those of you who are serious about this, I think you're gonna want to take this next step. So I'm gonna share my screen. And the first screen I want to share of several, and I'm gonna put these links on this video. This is what I call the Frank's, because I'm gonna name it after me. Frank's 5-star dating quiz. If you are a woman who is looking for that good man, what I'm saying is that we need to start with ourselves first to evaluate very honestly what we bring, the services that we offer that men are looking for when they are trying to find that potential life mate. All right. So here you have this one. So I've got one for women, and I'm going to share the link. And if you're interested, I think you should take this quiz. All right. It's a very interesting quiz. Now, what I'm going to do to kind of illustrate this whole idea, Frank's 5-star dating quiz for men, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to take this quiz because I want to show you, put myself out there first, lead by example. And I want to show you what, hopefully show you what it means when I say being honest and transparent about your self-assessment, what you claim to be bringing to this dating pool when we put ourselves out there looking for someone who we to find to to spend the rest of our lives with, you know. Um, so what I'm going to do now, I believe it's all up here, and I think you all should see this pretty clearly. I'm going to go ahead and take this quiz. And notice that I'm taking the time here to, again, emphasize this can only work if you are 100% honest. And a rating of 2.5 is considered average for all questions. So if I think I'm average, I'm going to hit 2.5. I think I'm above average in some area, I'm going to go higher. If I think I'm below average in some area, I'm going to go lower. And if everybody does this, then this can work. If we all just get in here and we're not accurate or honest, or we just want to try to present ourselves a certain way, then we're setting ourselves up for failure. And I can explain why later. I might do that on a live. We got to come to this being 100% authentic. All right, do the best that we can on it. All right. So first question here is income. So income, select from a range of 1 to 5, choose 2.5 if you have median yearly salary for your city. Choose higher or lower based on your estimation of how much more or less you earn than the median. Now, and I'm not going to go too deep into all these questions, but this one I have to talk just a little bit about because notice I use the word median as opposed to mean or average. Average, I want you to, if you want to be as forthcoming or as honest as you can when you rate yourself, you should go and just do a quick Google search for median yearly salary, individual yearly salary for where you live. Because we all know that depending on where you live, the salary ranges are different. You know, I live in Jacksonville, Florida. The salary ranges here are not going to be anywhere near the salary ranges for New York City. Well, what I want us to do is focus on just where we live, what our median salary is. Now, I say median versus average because, and I won't get too deep into it, but average, if you just go with average, that can skew the numbers. And they usually skew much higher. But basically, fewer people who earn an incredible amount of money per year or have an extremely high income a year, say $1 million, 500,000, $1 million and up per year, can skew averages higher than what's realistic. When we talk about median, we're talking about half of the number of people who live in your city earn below that and half above it. So it's that number where half, you're right at the middle number of half the people earn less than you and half the people in the city earn more than you. And that tends to be a more realistic number. So in my case, I'm going to say that my my income level is 3.5. If 2.5 is average, I'm going to consider myself that I make about a point over the average, you know, and we can get into breaking that down even more for those who have more specific questions on that. Next question, from 1 to 5, with 2.5 being average, indicate how stable you think your current job is. For me, with my current job, I'm a professor. I've been working at the same institution for 10 years, and I've been teaching for 5. And the situation that I have right now is extremely stable, extremely stable. So remember I said 5 is, to me, perfection, or near. It's, when we make the restaurant comparison, again, it's less than 1% of the total number of restaurants in this country are 5-star. I'm not going to give, even though I feel really good about how stable my job is, I'm not going to give it a 5. It's just me, because to me, that would be saying that somehow, I'm just guaranteed to have this same job if I wanted to for the next, 25 years. What I'll do is I'm gonna skew it down a little bit, and I'm gonna say between 4.5 and 4.75. I feel like I have a very, very stable situation. Like it would take something catastrophic for me to not be in this situation. So phrasing it like that for something like this, I'll just go 4.5 and be a little conservative. Marriage minded. From 1 to 5, 2.5 being average, what is your current level of willingness to be married if you found someone who met your standards? Well, as you guys just mentioned earlier, I'm divorced. That was some years ago. Don't want to be single. I am thinking about, like I feel like I would. I do have some hesitations because I don't want to be in a situation where somehow you get married and then one day you get divorced again. I don't want to be in that. So there's some hesitations there. So I would say, generally speaking, for me, I'm going to say that I'm more inclined than the average person to be married if I found the right person. So I'm going to put this up to maybe a 3.25. All right. So you see how I'm really like trying to drill down on how I really, really, really feel on these things. Fatherliness, patience, and caring. How do you rate your current disposition towards being a father, and rate how you feel about the level of qualities you have that would make an excellent father? Remember, a rating of 2.5 would be an average rating. I'm going to give myself a really high rating here because I pride myself um, on being a father to my two daughters. And I pride myself so much, and I feel like I do so much that it's going to be hard for me to imagine even being higher. But that being said, just because I can't imagine it doesn't mean that there might be, some qualities and things that I still have to learn about being a father. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, so maybe there's some things that are coming my way that I need to be up on. So I'm not going to call myself the perfect, father, exhibiting fatherliness type characteristics. That would be a 5. But still very good. So I'm going to say a 4.5. I think I'm a 4.5 dad. Devotion to God. How do you rate your current level of devotion to God according to your own personal convictions? If you don't believe in God, enter a 1 here. Well, I certainly believe in God, God, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I've accepted Christ into my life, and I take that very seriously. But again, being totally transparent, I am not currently a member of a church, so I'm not going like I should, and that's a commandment. I'm not supposed to hold myself back from the assembly of Christians from the body. So this question is asking about the devotion, current level of devotion. Well, if I know I need to be in church more and I'm going to start going, but I'm currently not, then I can't rate myself a 5. All right. I can't even really, I don't think, rate myself a 4 in this area because I know I need to be in somebody's church right now. I really do. I feel like I'm a child of God, love Christ, but I'm not in a church right now. Everything else, I pray with my kids. I I make the kinds of choices that would be pleasing to my Heavenly Father, all those things, but I'm just not in the church. So I'm gonna say 3.75. Devotion to morality and honesty. In your opinion, how much attention are you paying to living your everyday life with the highest moral standards, including honesty and integrity? So I'm preoccupied with this. I pay attention to this. I watch my choices. I watch my decisions. Um, so for me, a lot of people are probably going to rate themselves high here, but I really do think that I am intentional about living my everyday life with the highest moral standards, including honesty and integrity. So I'm going to rate myself really high. 5 is perfect. I don't think I'm perfect in this area, but I feel like I'm paying attention and making these decisions. So I'm going to put myself at 4.5 here. Devotion to healthy habits lifestyle. In your opinion, how much effort are you putting into living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy every day, daily physical exercise, and daily habits in general? I pay a lot of attention to this. You know, I make sure, like right now, I'm on a low carb diet. Eat healthy. I eat mostly, um, things that are green, salads, vegetables, fruits. I stay away from things that are, generally speaking, that are not healthy. I also work out. I spend roughly between 1 and 2 hours a day doing some form of physical activity. Mostly aerobic, but some weight training as well. So my devotion here is pretty high. So I'm gonna say that how much attention I pay with it, as well as what I do. I'm gonna say it's really up there. Like I'm gonna give this like with an hour a day. Sometimes I might slip. I'm gonna give myself a 4.5. I feel like this is really high. Education level. Rate your level of formal education. Then I give you an actual scale here. Now, I have a terminal degree, MFA in filmmaking. 2 years to get that degree, and worked incredibly hard. It's a terminal Master of Fine Arts degree in filmmaking. Is you cannot get any more. You can attain a higher level of education in filmmaking than an MFA. So because of that terminal degree, like those of you who have PhDs, I would have you here. If you earn a master's, you have one master, it would be here. If you have a bachelor's, it would be here. If you're a high school graduate, you would be average 2.5. If you didn't have your high school degree, you'd rate yourself somewhere under that, like a 2. If you're really close to getting, say, your degree, but you didn't, and you haven't earned the equivalent. And if you have more degrees than you see here, I have a little formula where you add a quarter star for every degree of the same level that you have. In my case, terminal degree, 4.5. So far, this is looking pretty good for me, right? I'm getting put myself kind of up there, 4.5s. Intellectual ability. Rate your ability to think clearly and deeply, process detailed information, and learn complex concepts. Well, the average is 2.5. And I feel like with just who I am, without getting too deep into it, I don't want this to go on and on. I'm going to say that I'm probably well above average with this intellectual ability. But I can imagine that there are people out there who have a greater ability than me to process uh, complex concepts. So I'm going to say 4.25. Ambition, passion. Rate your current level of ambition and passion for working towards positive personal progress and upward mobility. I have a high ambition for that. Work hard. If there's an idea or something I feel like um, can help me, then I'm going to move towards that. When I take on projects, I work hard to complete them. I'm going to give myself a 4 on that. I think I have a high ambition. It's probably, is it possible to have more ambition? Possibly, depending on a number of things. But, I think a 4 is probably good there. Listening, empathy. Rate the way you actively listen to others' perspectives and understand others' feelings and motivations. I feel like I'm a very active listener. I feel like if people who, and this is something, hey, if those of you who know me, you feel like I don't listen to you, then call cap on this. Let me know if you don't think I am, but I think I'm a very good listener. So I'm going to give myself a 4, which is a 1.5 above average. And honestly, I should go back. I'm going to go back because I honestly think I'm a better listener than a 4. I think I'm maybe a 4.25. Dependability. Rate how often you do what you say you'll do. Finish what you start. Meet your financial obligations on time. All these things. I think that I have a really high level of doing these things. So, I don't want to turn this into a high score fest here, but if you honestly feel that you are high in these areas, then you got to be honest. You don't want to turn it into, you don't want to put yourself, underrate yourself just because you think that you're looking good on the tool. Um, and so this is really high for me. I'm gonna kind of spitball it here, just going through, and I'll say a 4. Kindness. Rate how you generally treat and interact with others, how cordial you are, how giving you are, how often you encourage others, smile and behave warmly towards them. So I am generally kind. I think I'm generally cordial. But I can imagine a lot of people being quote unquote more kind or more cordial than me, because I stay pretty busy. I don't necessarily volunteer to jump into conversations. When I do, I'm cordial, but it's not like, it's one of these things. So 2.5 is average. I think I'm a little bit above average with being cordial. So I'm going to give myself a 3.25. Sense of humor. Rate how witty you are, how often you make others laugh, how quickly you find and express the humor in everyday situations, and how much you appreciate jokes. Okay, well, how witty I am. I'm pretty witty, but I'm not over the top. I can make other people laugh, when they get to know my quirky little personality. Um, I'm gonna say that if 2.5 is the average, I'm probably my sense of humor is pretty good. I'm floating here between 3 and 3.5. I'm gonna say 3.25 seems about right for me. Romantic, charming. Rate how often you naturally and intentionally express loving feelings of affection towards your mate, potential mate, and the lengths you go towards regularly making them feel loved and appreciated. So this is where I'm going to have to really do some honesty here, because while I would love to say that I'm Mr. Romantic and Mr. Charming, I know that I'm not. I'm much more of a, kind of a straightforward, I guess I might want to use the word pragmatic, but I'm just like when it comes to romantic, I know that if average is right in the middle, if I put my mind to it, I will be these things, but my natural, and this is what I have here, naturally and intentionally express loving feelings. I just don't go around telling people I love you. I don't go around, um, you know, doing things specifically. I think the situation would have to call for it. It's just not naturally where I am. So because of that, I think I'm lower than the average. I think, you know, just looking around. I don't know. I'm a dude, so I don't know how many men do this. But as far as what women I think are looking for too, when you look at that just in general, I'm gonna have to give myself a 2. I'm gonna give myself lower than the average, and maybe a couple steps lower, because I'm just more logical minded than expressive like that. All right, face. Rate how attractive your face looks when groomed, haircut, shave, etc., but with no cosmetics, no glasses, designer contacts, etc. All right, so groomed, I think I look pretty good. Um, if you go with the average, I think that my face in general is probably, I've been told that, some of the ladies say I'm cute. I've been told that I'm good looking. We talk about average being 2.5. I think I'm up in the 3.25 to 3.5 range. Um, I think I'm going to give myself a 3.25. I think I'm going to skew it down a little bit. I think I'm just a little above average looking. Body. Rate how attractive you think your body currently is to women. All right. So, body. I mean, I'm healthy. I work out. 6'2". I got on the scale this morning. I was just under 188. I was like 187 point something. So good weight, good muscle tone, lightly muscled, not built like, all built out, but I think my body to women is probably going to be about between a 3, if 2.5 is average, between 3, maybe a 3.25, maybe 3.25. Might be 3.25 stars. All right, and then style. Rate how attractive you think your sense of style is with clothing and accessories you currently own and typically wear. If I'm flat out, I know I'm close to average when it comes to style, because I almost deliberately dress plain. Like when we go back, you see here with this broadcast, I'm just wearing a black polo. And typically, that's what you're gonna see me in as far as work is concerned. It's gonna be slacks and a polo. I'm just plain, when I'm teaching. When I'm out and about, I'm no frills, on some jeans and maybe a collared shirt or whatever. If I dress up, sure, I can dress up, but even the suit gonna be, more just kind of, I guess you could say, plain right across the middle. So style, either average. It's probably going to be about average. I don't see myself. Yeah, I don't think I'm not below average when it comes to style, but I'm just not doing anything flashy at all either. So I think I'm average on style. All right, this next question: do you have a preference for a particular quality in women over all others? If so, select it from the menu. So this is the menu. So this is asking me for my personal preference now. Is there something in a woman that I'm looking for that I value over everything else? Like if I had it, then I'm willing to fall back on everything else if I had that one thing. So the options are physically attractive. Am I a man who has to have a physically attractive woman no matter what? Does she need to be wealthy? Does she need to be a woman of God? Does she need to be home and family oriented, intelligent, loving, caring, and affectionate, agreeable, supporting, and trusting? Generally speaking, men want all of these things. Generally, there may be some things that, like if you don't believe in God, then you might not be looking for a woman who believes in God. But generally speaking, men want all these things. The question here is, do I value one of these more than the others? Like I got to have it. I think I do have one here, but for this, I'm going to put no preference because this isn't for everybody to see. When you filling yours out, like I'm doing this live in front of everybody right now, so I choose one of these, everyone is gonna know, hey, Frank like da 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 da. And if let's say some of you watching this and you think I'm cute, you might try to skew your, you might try to answer yours in a way that makes it look good for me. So I think that we all have our own, every single one of us have, we know whether or not we don't mind, we want everything and there's no preference, or if we have to have a certain type of woman that we're looking for. We all have that. And I think we're entitled to have whatever that is. And if you want to express it to someone personally, that's fine. But I don't think we need to put that all out there. So I'm gonna put no preference. And then finally, these are like bookkeeping things. What kind of device are you using to take this quiz? I'm using a laptop. I'm going to go ahead and put Frank T here. First name and last initial is fine. What's your email address? Everybody will know mine. It's frankbgooden2@gmail.com. I'll put that out everywhere. If you guys want to email me, hit me. And then hit submit. And then you'll get this. Now, here's what, the ending comment that I have for you when you do this. It's time for me to process these, generate your scores, and then show you how we're going to use them. I'm going to talk about them quickly here before I end this video, because this video is actually going to be turning out to be longer than I wanted. It's not an automated process, so give me a little time. It won't take too long. Over time, I will automate this if this is something that takes off. But for right now, it's not automated, and so I have to do a few things before I send you your score. But that's it. That's the quiz. Those are the kinds of questions that I ask as I try to get all of us on the same page, in terms of what it is that we bring, what we feel like we bring to a potential companion. I use these types of things to try to put a star on your establishment. All right. So what kind of star do I have on my establishment based on these questions that I just answered in front of everybody live? Right. So I'll take a quick look at that. We're going to look over these, and then I'm going to talk to you about how I use these scores to help kind of calculate that. So once you do that, you'll get an email from me, and you're going to get something that looks a little bit like this. So really quickly, what you see here, this looks totally weird. I'll fly through this. What you see here are different scores. What you see is a computation of my assessment of the star rating that you would have based on your answers. All right. So all around, based on the answers that I gave, all around, this is saying that I am presenting myself as a 3 3/4 star restaurant. That's what I'm bringing out to the market. All right, a 3 3/4 star restaurant. And then I broke these numbers down in some ways to that would help define the kind, if a woman was looking for a particular kind of person, what my star rating would be. So in this particular case, if a woman valued an intelligent man over and above all these other things, just like I asked that question for me, the ladies are answering the same question. And they valued intelligence more than everything. Then for them, I would be just over a 4 1/4 star establishment. All right, for them. If they valued physical attraction over and above those, then for that, I would be just under 4 stars. For them. If they valued wanting to get a man of God in their life, out of 5, for them, I would be just over 4 stars. If they wanted someone who, above everything else, wanted to be a dependable man, then that would be a little over 4 1/4 stars. Now, here's an interesting one. For the ladies who, and I got to be real about it, generally speaking, for the ladies who value romance above everything, they and all this stuff is cool, but more than anything, they want a romantic man. For them, I'm less than 3 stars. In fact, I'm just over. I'm basically 2 3/4. I'm a 2 3/4 star man or catch for them. These are the services that would bring for them, for those who value this. And so, for me as a dude, if I see somebody who values those things, and I'm rated so low for them, but I still want to see if I can get to know them, then I better be willing to up that intentionally. You know, I better be ready to put out some 90s R&B or some 80s Babyface or something to really let them know that I can be romantic. I can. I'm gonna pull it out. If I ran across somebody who valued that. Caring, if they wanted someone who, above everything else, was a caring individual, or who presents themselves as a caring individual, then my rating for them would be 4 1/4 stars. Right. So this is just me personally. These, of course, would look different depending on who you are and what you're looking for. But for me, doing something like this, good people, men and women, who are trying to find their way towards each other, if we can be honest and accurate and really deeply, deeply reflective about who we are and what we bring, then we are setting the stage for others to be able to accept us for who we are. And we got to be able to do that quickly. And I think this is a departure from how things usually are, because generally all we generally do is take a look at the picture. Do we think they're cute? They're attractive? Oh, I can be with that person. And then everything else comes second. And in my formula here, physical attraction, physical looks is 1/9 of the whole equation. So it's de-emphasized, and de-emphasized for a reason. Looks fade over time. 30 years from now, when we get up there, and we're gonna want to have relationships where we respect each other, and it's a real friendship. It's a real connection, a real bond with that person, that goes much, much, much deeper than how you feel about the way that they look. So it should be, in my opinion, de-emphasized. Should be. Um, so there you have it. That is that is what you get if you vibe into what, the spirit of what I am trying to create. I want to create an actual community of individuals who all take the Frank's 5-star dating quiz and participate in, all coming together with this express purpose to come together, create unions, lasting unions that lead to marriage. Now, once you get that, once I send this to you, and you get whatever my assessment is based on your answers of the star, the level of star establishment that you have, then it's up to you. I want you to, let me go ahead and share this right now. All right, so I think you can see this, but let me double check. Yeah, I think you guys can see it. I created a website, went over to Wix, and threw up something, which is basically a site where all of us can go log in and create our profile, throw up, Frank's 5-star dating score in whatever these areas are. We just throw it up, whatever we want to share about ourselves, and use that as the start, as the basis of connecting, starting conversations with each other, and I can talk about what that could potentially look like, because there's all kinds of different ways that we can use these scores, provided that they're accurate, in initiating conversations with each other. But, we know, kind of generally speaking, that people in general usually, form unions with people who are, like equally yoked, is what spiritually we might say. And that refers to a spiritual concept, but it works in the natural too. Equally yoked people who are similar usually, get together. You don't find out here a whole majority of people who are just completely different, in terms of what they bring to the relationships. They bring similar things to the relationship. They usually end up being together, and they usually end up happy together. Um, so real quick on the website, and then I'll let us go on this. So when you go to the website, you'll see that, this is the home screen, and then if you scroll down, you can go to this website either on desktop or on mobile, and you see I'm saying a few things here, and you can go in, you can enter the form. The form link is here as well. The form is where we will get together and we'll just talk about things that are important. I'll click it real quick. We'll go in things that we think are important. I have a section here, ask anything. So anything that you want to ask about anything in general, we can start a conversation in this form. Dating questions or observations in general, we can talk about that in this form. If anybody has any words of wisdom, we can talk about that in this form. And you can see nobody's right now. I just made this. And so, no one's here, but hopefully you guys will be the first, and we will slowly create a community of like-minded people. And if you have questions, or if you come up with other, as this continues to grow and mature, there are going to be, I'm sure, other categories and other things that we do. But this is just what I thought of here at the very beginning, just kind of throwing this together. You see, I have something on standards. We don't have to cover that now. And here you can see the members. Right now, Frank Gooden, I'm the only one here. So I don't want to be the only one here. So I encourage you to, after you receive your Frank's 5-star dating score, to use it to create a profile. Just go find a good picture of yourself and throw some information up and throw your 5-star dating score up here. And now you're here, you're present, and you're putting yourself out there. You're making yourself available for others to find you, connect with you. And I think in this way, this is, a different way, and I think potentially a better way for us to just make our way towards each other. Because, and this is something we're going to talk about when I go live. Right now, it's ridiculous out here. Right now, all these crazy ways that they got, and with spam accounts and all that. And let me just mention this last thing too before I go. I'm going to be on my YouTube channel And really, this whole thing, I'm glad I mentioned the YouTube channel. I'm gonna, on my YouTube channel, have these kinds of discussions. Right now, you're probably watching this video from my channel. What I want is for you all to like this video on YouTube and subscribe. And that's the only thing I'm asking. This, I'm not charging for this. You know, maybe sometime way down in the future, if this somehow blows up and turns into a thing, a real thing, maybe somehow, maybe there might be some kind of subscription. But I'm not thinking about that at all right now. The only thing I'm quote unquote charging is I want you to subscribe to my channel so that when we talk, I want to feature members, people who actually go through this process on my YouTube channel. I want to have live discussions about issues around this. If you have any questions on this, if you want to make it, if you have suggestions or ideas about how to make it better, or you think this whole thing is off and it's not going to get anybody anywhere, whatever, I want to have these discussions on my YouTube channel. And in that way, and I'll talk about this more and more, we form a community that keeps each other on our toes. You know, we don't want any busters or anybody that's going to be playing games coming up in here and just, you know, acting any kind of way and you know, trying to put something out there that they're not, and you know, potentially meeting somebody and throwing them off. We want everybody in this community to come with the idea that you're looking for something real and you're bringing your authentic self to that. Right? I think it all starts with us and with that type of mentality. All right, so this video is long enough as it is. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. And I'm gonna throw up a live here coming up pretty soon. Hopefully you guys like what you saw. I hope that you guys take the quiz, join up, hope to see you there, and I hope to see you on the YouTube channel later. All right, okay, until then, enjoy the rest of Memorial Day, enjoy your evening, and I'll see you later.